December 1999. A commercial airliner bound for Afghanistan is seized by terrorists. The Indian government faces an impossible choice, and ultimately they cave, releasing captured militants to save the civilian hostages. Exactly 2 years later, the violence hits the capital. 5 armed men breach the gates of the Indian parliament in broad daylight, engaging in a massive firefight with security forces right outside the halls of government. The perpetrators of both attacks had clear ties to state-sponsored groups across the border, but diplomacy was gridlocked. Any open military retaliation by India was blocked by the enemy's heavy backing from Western and Gulf allies. Direct conflict was off the table. Stripped of conventional military options and facing continuous proxy attacks, Indian intelligence had to adapt. This extreme level of diplomatic paralysis required a ruthless new doctrine, slowly rotting the enemy from the inside out. The architect of this response initiative is Intelligence Bureau Director Ajay Sanyal. His answer to the diplomatic gridlock is a highly classified, off-the-books operation named Mission Dhurandhar. The mission bypasses military bases entirely and zeroes in on a specific, volatile district within Karachi, a town called Lyari. Lyari is governed by criminal syndicates that dictate the commerce of Karachi. Since Karachi drives the national economy, this underworld effectively holds a veto over political stability. Sanyal's logic is to seize the town and, by extension, paralyze the state. To wield that knife, Sanyal deploys a lone operative under the alias Hamza Ali. He infiltrates the region posing as a disenfranchised Baloch rebel. Hamza is sent to embed himself deeply into the untouchable criminal empire that runs the town, climb its ranks, and ultimately take the wheel. At the top of Lyari's food chain sits Rahman Daquait, an immensely powerful Don. He commands a third of the territory and commands fierce loyalty among the local population. He is Hamza's target. Getting close to a paranoid crime lord usually takes years of low-level grunt work. Hamza accelerates the timeline by surviving a hit. During a crowded wedding, a rival faction launches a surprise attack on Rahman's 2 sons. Amidst the chaos, Hamza throws himself over the younger son, shielding him from the crossfire. Later, when a grieving Rahman offers him a massive cash reward for saving the boy, Hamza turns it down flat. Taking the money would have branded him a mercenary with a price tag. By refusing it and claiming he acted out of shared Baloch brotherhood, Hamza successfully implants himself in Rahman's inner circle as an ideological loyalist. Once inside, Hamza begins steering the Don. When Rahman's lieutenants urge caution ahead of local elections, Hamza pushes the opposite direction. He advises Rahman to ignore the politics and immediately wipe out his chief rival, arguing that hesitation projects weakness. Rahman takes the bait. The rival is brutally eliminated. Rahman becomes the undisputed king of Lyari, and Hamza is instantly elevated to his most trusted lieutenant. Consolidating that much power attracts apex predators. Pakistan's Inter-Services Intelligence, represented by a man known as Major Iqbal, approaches the newly crowned Don with a highly sensitive request. They need untraceable, foreign-made heavy weaponry. Because the ISI regularly clashes with Baloch separatists, they can't buy from them directly. So Rahman brokers the deal, securing Russian and American hardware directly from the very rebel factions that Hamza is falsely claiming to represent. By successfully ascending the criminal ranks, Hamza inadvertently becomes a vital gear in the exact terror machine he was sent to dismantle. The scale of the threat becomes clear when Major Iqbal briefs the syndicate on where those weapons are going. They are outfitting a massive, waterborne assault team destined for Indian soil. Hamza immediately breaks protocol. He frantically feeds the exact dates, methods, and targets back to his handlers in New Delhi so they can intercept the boats. But the warning gets lost in the bureaucracy. The intelligence is mismanaged, and the assault team slips through, resulting in the devastating November 2008 Mumbai attacks. Watching his own city burn on television shatters Hamza's original parameters. He abandons strategic disruption to pursue a personal, ruthless quest for total usurpation of the syndicate. To take the throne, the current king has to die. But an outright assassination would fracture the syndicate. Hamza needs a death that explicitly transfers the crown to him. He builds a mechanical trap using local power players. Hamza blackmails a Liari politician, forcing him to reinstate a suspended, highly aggressive police officer who already has a massive vendetta against Rahman. With the pieces in place, Hamza volunteers to drive Rahman to a remote location. Midway down an isolated, dusty road, he violently crashes the vehicle right into SP Chaudhary's heavily armed waiting ambush. Before the crash, Hamza had secretly handed the corrupt cop a highly specific instruction: shoot Rahman in the side of the neck and expressly avoid a clean headshot. Hamza carefully micromanages the biological timeline of his mentor's death to ensure he has a window to perform his final act. A side neck wound bleeds out slowly. That gives Hamza exactly enough time to throw the dying Don over his shoulder, commandeer a rickshaw, and rush into the local hospital, playing the role of the desperate, fiercely loyal savior for all of Rahman's men to see. Rahman ultimately dies on the operating table. The entire Liari underworld witnesses Hamza coated in his boss's blood, having supposedly risked his own life in a shootout with the police. They instantly crown him their new, undisputed leader. As Hamza takes control of the territory, his file back in New Delhi reveals the truth. Jaise-jaise Singh Rangi is a former death row inmate with 0 surviving family, selected precisely because he had absolutely nothing to lose. Jaise-jaise assassinated his target, weaponized state corruption. He manufactured grief and manipulated loyalty to legally steal an entire criminal empire, leaving a profound understanding of the ruthless shadow war to come.